I know it's a little bit of a bold statement for me to say that CLNV may or may not have found that floor, but let's go ahead and validate together. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again on this happy Saturday. This is ARCa coming at you with a CLNV, technicals, and raw price action thread of analysis. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in Discord called ARCa Bulls. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. Okay, so first of all, we're going to look at the 12-hour chart here, and this is one that we haven't seen. This is in fact the daily channel that we've been looking at for some time, but I moved it to the 12 for a very specific reason. And this is one of the signals that I'm thinking that we may have found a type of bounce or a floor. Okay, but I'm not sure if it's limited just yet, but these things are very curious what we're looking on. Okay, so what I'm going to show you here is actually particular to volatility versus momentum. Okay, volatility represented by this indicator BBWP, remember, is direction neutral, right? And this is momentum, stochastic. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and actually load up stochastic momentum instead of an RSI momentum. So yeah, in this case, let's go ahead and do this. Okay, so I want you to notice how we came down to the 15th percentile of critical volatility. Okay, so this is a critical contraction is what it's called. So whenever volatility moves down in this fashion here, that's contraction, and when it goes up, that's expansion. Okay, so critical expansion, critical contraction. All right, so let's take a look at a couple iterations. The closest one being October 26th, 2022. We reached critical contraction, right? And then we made this explosive move to the upside. Okay, so another iteration right over here. This was on March 1st, 2022. We went to critical contraction, very, very similar level over here, and then we had an explosive move to the upside. And if you're unaware of just how explosive, I'm talking about, let's see, I'm talking about a 235% move here, 236, right? This move in particular moved up. Let's see. Let's go ahead and put it to that top candle, 181%. Okay, so now this is another move down here where we went into critical contraction. Then we started pivoting towards the upside. And from this move here, we actually faced a 100.37% move to the upside. This is how I backtest. Okay, you guys, I'm just showing you how I do it so that you can see why I may be favoring a potential floor. Okay, but I'm not sure that that's quite the case just yet. I just want you to be extremely careful with this. Okay, we went into critical contraction, very close to where we are today. Okay, so this move to the upside ended up being, let me see, up to this candle right over here, 187.86%. Okay, so and here's another one. Okay, we went to critical. I mean, this was a full-on contraction, and then we faced a massive move to the upside. In this case, the move actually moved up about 396%. Here's another one over here. This move went up about 146.67%. Okay, you guys, so I'm not going to continue down the line because there are several iterations that we can take into account and create a statistical upside. Okay, but I find it very curious that we actually went down to critical volatility and immediately rejected that 15th percentile. And that upside, I mean, could it be? Could it be? Well, that's what we're going to run a back test on, right? So let's go ahead and continue validating, okay? So let's go ahead and look at this chart here. This is the second reason that I believe that we may have found the bottom. Okay, so this is the ascending broadening wedge that we have been looking at for quite some time now, the very same one. And if you remember correctly, I told you that I drew these dotted lines because there was the potential that the inside green lines may not be the actual floor or the ceiling for them. Okay, so I kept them there just in case for future price action, right? So from the genesis of the formation, we have a touch point, here, and now the one that we just faced on Thursday. So it came, I'm talking about direct contact with that trend line. Okay, so only because it's a line doesn't mean it's gonna, freaking favor the upside from there. I'm just saying that from this, from the ascending broadening wedge original trend line. It has perfect touch points, right? And it came right down to it. And these are further reasons, okay? Further validations, okay? First of all, when we're in a downtrend and then we print a long wicked candle like this one, this is called a hammer candle, okay? Especially at the very bottom of a trend, this signals a potential reversal of signal or price action, okay? Another reason that could be a bullish formation towards the upside is this, okay? So know your candle analysis, okay, you guys? So what we're looking at right here is called a bullish engulfing, okay? So usually when you have a green candle print engulfing the previous or the prior iteration red candle, that usually is a confirmation for a further upside. And secondly, this green candle is the confirmation candle per the trading rules of how to trade a reversal candle like a hammer candle. It just so happens that the candle happened to be as well a bullish engulfing. Okay, so this is very curious. We're getting in, also we're on the daily here. Okay, so my minimum candle analysis or reading to see if a candle will or a candle formation will play out would often be on the 8-hour minimum. Okay, so 12-hour preferred, but most likely I start on the daily. And another thing that we should notice here, okay, so this previous iteration that happened here with these candles here, this is a bearish engulfing, okay? It's the opposite of this. So you can see that it played out just the way that it said. And we did mention this as well. Okay, so we had a bearish engulfing formation on the daily here. It played to the downside just like it would suggest, and now we're getting the opposing iteration here. This is a bullish engulfing with a huge hammer candle all the way down to that very bottom, and now with that confirmation green candle signaling a potential continuation to the upside here. Okay, so it's looking pretty good. All right, so now I don't want to say that it's going to be the macro reversal here, but we have to play it smart. We have to see what we're going to do little by little. I'm giving you my opinions based on just raw price action right now, okay? It's not on statistics or mathematical models, okay? So this is just raw price action, but as some of you may know, my discretionary side and ability to just read charts is pretty strong just without the math side. I use the math side to validate it, okay? So let's go ahead and take a fib retracement from the swing high to the swing low of the current day's price action, right? So already what I can see here is that there's a lot of confluence between the 1.272 and all of these candles right over here. Okay, so the opening of this one, the closing of this one, the opening of this one, right in between this one right over here, right here with the closing of this candle, the support touch of this candle, a lot of variation here. Even this candle right here has a lot to do with the 1.272 all the way to the right of the cursor. Okay, right over here. So I'm thinking that there could be a topside target here already. Okay, so and that target that I'm actually looking at has a lot to do with previous price action as well. Okay, so I'm gonna give a range here for the potential price action coming in on Monday. So I'm thinking that we could potentially find between 6.92, 6 cents, right? So 0.692 to about 0.730, and of course, there's still more upside to be looked at, but what I want to mention too is that sometimes these ascending triangles fail only to be succeeded just a little bit later. This is actually something that's a bit of an anomaly that's been happening with this formation in particular over the last few months, maybe a year. So they've usually failed this, creating what would longs actually pressure to the downside to create a bear trap. So if this is a bear trap, then this would be this triangle actually succeeding the upside. So the top side target of this, I'm not sure if we can reach it on Monday, but maybe even Tuesday or Wednesday, right? It actually would be between a 2.272, which just so happens to be the top side of all of these candles here, and a 2.618 at 840, which has a lot of confluence with the top side of our triangle. Okay, so I'm thinking these are the two nearest targets that we should be focused on for the coming days, maybe week. Okay, so now let's go ahead and validate if we even have an upside period. Okay, so just like always, we're going to look at the RSI, right? Relative Strength Index. Can't speak English right now. And please remember that your purple line is the RSI signal and the 14-day simple moving average is represented by this pink line. Okay, so what we're looking at here is actually a pretty nice ongoing use of the 14-day simple moving average as a support. Okay, so we actually did use that support again. So as soon as we get closer to the bull weakness percentile gravitational zone, which is right up here, the faster we can actually get pulled into the bull strength percentile. Okay, so now the buy hourly, remember this lives out pretty fast. It's a 30-minute. It's a fast time frame. So now let's look at the buy hourly. Okay, so the buy hourly is actually suggesting a continuation to the upside as well. It actually made a bullish cross above that 14-day simple moving average, and it's actually been below this 14-day simple for now, let's see, since January 27th. Okay, so we're about to hit, let's see, the 6th of February on Monday, right? So I think so. But yeah, so this is still suggesting an upside. The important thing here is first of all, yes, we did cross that 14-day simple, which makes it bullish, but we are in that gravitational zone of the bear weakness percentile, suggesting a continuation to that upside. Okay, and the 6-hour time frame is also showing an upside continuation. This is a very curious area because it's a little bit of an oxymoron here, but we have resistance by the 14-day within the gravitational zone that pulls us up, right? So this is a bit of a strange situation here. I'm not saying that we can't succeed it, but it has kind of a 50-50 fight here. Okay, so not everyone knows about the gravitational zone, but many more people know about the 14-day simple as a temporary upside, and we have used it as a resistance point already. And to be fair, this using it as a resistance, that the distance or the relation between the top side or pivot of this RSI signal to the 14-day simple is pretty close to where we are today, currently, or presently, right? So we have to keep an eye on the 6-hour time frame. So let's look at the 12-hour though. So the 12-hour is it's also in a bit of a precarious situation as well because we are in that gravitational zone that would pull us up, right? But the 14-day moving average could actually, kind of be used as a form of resistance, a temporary upside, and then we can get into this gravitational zone of the bull weakness percentile, which would essentially bring us back down. So this, in a sense, would be suggesting some sideways trading or consolidation, which now makes me believe that we could be pensive about something, but we are still bullish in all nature. And I'm talking about biologically, like all of us, right? So the people. Okay, so the daily time frame is also suggesting a limited upside, but that limited upside here, the space between the 14-day simple and the RSI signal is absolutely giving me the correlation or the idea that topside target that we're looking for, actually this one here, 2.272 at about 8 cents to 8.40, that could be or very well could be that space between the RSI and the 14-day on the daily. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the buy daily and see what we have. So the buy daily also is suggesting a limited upside as well, but please know that the distance between this and this area here that could take like a week to get there, right? So that's also giving me the impression that we may actually see that pullback from the 2.618 or the 2.272 yet again. So it's still pretty much rhyming, okay? But please remember, I'm giving you two targets here, okay? And just for giggles, let's go ahead and move on to the 3-day and the 5-day. The 3-day is suggesting a very limited upside, and in fact, we are within the gravitational zone, which could actually pull us up, but that 14-day simple is right at the following zones, gravitational zone, okay? So we could actually use those two forms of resistances before coming back down, and the 5-day would kind of solidify that. It's actually just making a bearish cross, but please notice that there's a kink as well, right? So we have this little bit of a V shape right here on this 5-day, which would essentially mean that the bears are losing a little bit of strength. Still a downside suggestion though. Okay, there's no reason why we couldn't actually fail the 14-day and then be pushed right back up or pulled back up. The reason why I'm saying that we could be pulled back up is because we are in that gravitational zone, right? So as soon as we can validate an upside, then we can do that, okay? But so yeah, but that's the 5-day and the 3-day being being so limited with the upside, that's kind of what's telling me that we may face a pullback here in the next week or two, depending on how fast we get to this area here. Okay, so but just know that I am looking for an upcoming upside, and that could be favorable for a lot of day traders or short-term swing traders, right? So did I say twaders right now, like my toddler? Oh my goodness, you guys. Please remember, I'm not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy or sell any assets whatsoever. Okay, you guys, please do your own due diligence, and everything will be just fine. Okay, you guys, please refer to the links below if you would like to join the ARCa Bulls trading community in Discord. And also the Twitter is there, so go ahead and say hello to me there as well. Okay, you guys, but with that said, I wish you well, a great rest of your weekend, and I will catch you at the bell on Monday. Adios.